First, let's talk about, tell me about the morale in your department.
You know, I think it's good overall considering where we're at. The thing I think that's really affecting people now is the uncertainty, the way it's been played up of who's going to have jobs, who's not going to have jobs. And we've all heard through the media or read in the paper that, you know, there's going to be these changes. Well, that's very unsettling for employees when they don't know what their future holds and it's their livelihood. But I think overall, the indicators I watch are showing positive, and that is people are engaged in doing what they're supposed to do. They're carrying out their duties. They're responding to calls, and it's not affecting their job performance. And when it does is when it's a real concern. And right now we're just trying to mitigate the damage with all the rumors flying around and all the media hype surrounding everything.
And so what do you...
1 second, please. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
My camera tripod's starting to go up. I like the head's moving up. All right.
Good. All right. So what do you say to the critique that you're setting up the next sheriff to fail?
You know, if you watch any national news, all you hear is our current president blame the previous administration. Here it is 7, 8 years later or whatever it is. And, you know, there's no truth to it. And one day it's, I'm setting him up. The next day it's, well, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's setting me up. I mean, my interest is this office. It's been my livelihood. I've poured my heart and soul into it. My family has. I don't want the sheriff's office to fail, and I'm doing what I believe is right and what I have done during my entire tenure when I had the resources to do it. And this whole concept of an overhire is nothing new. The previous county administrator was well aware of it, the budget officer, the current county administrator, the commissioners, and it's just being responsible. And when you have staffing as a high priority, which it always has been, I mean, you're going to invest what resources you can to ensure that you have the numbers you're allowed to. And when you take into consideration the length of an academy from the time we post till they're done being trained, 49 weeks, I mean, you have to be proactive and you have to have a broad vision and look way ahead. And that's all I'm doing is setting him up where he doesn't have to worry about his staffing levels falling down, because it endangers those employees when that happens. And that's who I worry about.
Okay, and there has been a lot of confusion over that. So you're overhiring, but that's standard procedure, right?
Absolutely. There's, you know, I see agencies around the country, and I just read a newspaper in another state where the agency is 50 officers down, their academy has 30. And they're complaining they can never get caught up. And I felt like picking up the phone going, look, you have savings on these vacancies. Use those savings to overhire above your authorization, and it will all balance out. And it does. If you run it through the year, it averages out. And that's all we're doing. We're using those savings and where we have efficiencies and investing in people to keep the staffing up so that they can get their time off, they can get the vacations. When somebody's deployed, it's not crippling to us. And when you're talking about a large agency, we're 780 full-time employees. That is a far different planning process than a 40-person agency. And that's really the difference, and the different levels of experience and vision it takes.
And I saw the emails back and forth between Bill Elder. Once you explained the attrition and everything, did he understand that?
I don't know. I never heard anything other than he was going to the media complaining I'm setting him up for failure, which just is not true. And I never got a response back on my email saying, hey, I'm confused about this. Can you explain? I never heard anything. That's about the time that the wave of I'm setting him up and what I'm doing is inappropriate and all that. It was really just hype and sensationalism, to be quite honest.
So when you hear a county commissioner say, here's a quote, the sheriff is going to have to find $12,000 somewhere else, does he have one less deputy, or do they forego critical items like bullets or vests? What do you want to say?
What I want to say, I won't, but what I will say is the commissioner has no clue what she is talking about, none whatsoever. To insinuate no vests and bullets, I think, is just being dramatic. It's not even applying common sense. Matter of fact, that very commissioner voted to approve vests and approve the ammo for the year. The money was there. County Commissioner Dennis Heisey said, I've looked at the numbers, the money's there. Like it has been there for the last almost 12 years now. That was just a commissioner with a political ploy trying to create drama to fit her agenda. That's it. And I would challenge her to prove otherwise, and she can't. She can't come forward with one thing other than just throw this out there.
And I've noticed you typically, you're one to wear your heart on your sleeve. Has it been difficult for you not to be able to respond to a lot of the allegations?
Yeah, it's been extremely challenging. You know, and I committed, number one, I requested the independent investigation. I committed to it. And that's been one of the most challenging things is to get out there and get the answers. And I know the public, I've heard from the public, you've got to talk to us, you've got to tell us what's going on. And I tell them, look, I can't. You know, the people that I do have direct conversation with. And it's not my normal personality or style or what the community is used to. Mm-hmm. And so it's been very difficult. And then it just gets so ridiculous, like the comments from the commissioner, are they going without bullets and vests? That you just throw your hands in the air and look at it as a comedy stunt almost.
Well, if you could go back in time, is there anything you would do differently as sheriff than that you've done already?
Wow, that's a broad question. I mean,
if you could go back and undo something or do something differently, what would it be?
You know, that'd be a question I'd need days to think about because I'm human. I'm like everybody else. And, you know, there's things that, you know, through life and in this career, every day is a learning opportunity. I talk about that at our graduation. You know, the academy graduates, the learning is just beginning. And that's where you build experience. And that's where you build this wealth of knowledge to make the right decision the next time. And so, yeah, obviously throughout my career, whether you look at it in totality or you look in the last 4 years or the last 12 years, absolutely there's things I would do differently. I mean, that's just how you build that wealth of knowledge and you hope to pass on to somebody so that they don't make those same mistakes.
All right, but no specifics?
No, because I mean, it's too broad. I mean, you know, I look at things, I mean, you look at the timing of everything, maybe the promotions you've made, maybe the comments that I've made. You know, there's plenty out there.
And what will you miss the most about your position?
You know, as my term starts to wind down, I think it's really the camaraderie, the being around so many people that believe in why they exist, why they became deputy sheriffs, why they entered law enforcement. I've said this several times, so it's nothing new, but I've been fortunate to have a front row seat at the best show in the world, and that is watching people pour their hearts and souls into whatever task they're doing, whether it's a homicide detective trying to bring justice to the victims of a violent crime, or it's the deputy down in the jail, you know, taking control of a very what could be a violent situation. Just every aspect of the heroics that go unnoticed almost weekly. And I get to see it and I tell people about it, but if you're not there seeing it, you're not there seeing the excitement in the deputies' eyes or the supervisors and the sense of accomplishment. The letters from the public thanking the office for the service we provide, or a traffic stop a deputy makes and the citizen sends in a letter saying, you know, I was wrong and your deputy was so professional. I mean, those things, it's going to be difficult to walk away from. And the people I've made friends with and the relationships you build, I mean, it's going to be tough, but I'm still going to be a member of the community, and you know, I'll still be watching, and I wish for nothing but the best for this office, regardless of who the sheriff is. Mm-hmm. It's about this office and the service it provides to the community.
And what will you miss the least?
The media.
That's a good answer.
You know, let me expand that.
No, yeah, do, because I did want to.
You know, I mean, the media, for one. Now, I've been very fortunate. I can honestly say in the 12 years I've been sheriff, there have been some bumps. Some of them I deserve, some of them I don't. But in the last 2 years, I've really seen a change in some media outlets where, you know, we have a partnership, and that partnership is the media is the conduit to the community. And sometimes it may not be pleasant for me or this office, but it's still a requirement. And the role is for the media to gather the facts, put them out there so the public can form an opinion. And now I see little fringes of different outlets that aren't worried about the facts. I mean, you're asked a question about something, you go, I have no idea what you're talking about, and you don't find out until they report the news, and you didn't even have a chance to tell your side of it. But really, I think it's the politics too. Now, I accept that being elected to serve as sheriff is an honor, and you really are connected to the citizens. They are your boss. And so I think it has an important role, but then you see the politics start entering into it. If you get too much support from the public, then that now you become a target and things like that, or you try doing what's right for the office by getting the 1A funds. I mean, that comes at a huge political cost and a personal sacrifice. You're criticized if you're a Republican, and then it's held against you forever, whether it passes or fails. And it's just that side of it, I'm glad it'll be gone.
Now, if, and I know with the term limits you cannot, but if you could run again, would you?
No. I was approached about a year ago, actually, and asked, hey, would you be interested if we could get term limits on the ballot? We know it would pass. Would you be interested in running? And I said, no, I've got 27 years in. And I've always seen myself moving on and doing something different. And that's what I plan to do. And even if it was put on and it passed, I would have probably had to step aside. I've done 3 terms. I've accomplished what I set out to do. I've left the office better than it was when I took it, and it was in good shape when I inherited it. But I've always been had an entrepreneurial spirit deep inside me, and we have a family business. My dad is retired, and I plan to invest in that and go have fun with that.
So what is that business?
It's construction, and it's up on the north slope of Alaska, so I'll probably be doing a lot of traveling back and forth.
So will you potentially move to Alaska?
This is my home. My kids are here, my family's here, my wife's family's here, but I'll probably have a second household up there. It just depends on what the requirements are. We've worked outside the state of Alaska as well, so we'll just see how it goes, but it's intended to be fun and have fun.
Anything else on the horizon other than that for you next?
Certainly not politics. And I know there's a lot of speculation over the last year, and to all those people that said, oh, you're just posturing for the next office, I'll tell you again, you're wrong.
So there's no big house in Denver that you're wanting
No.
to move into? All right.
No.
Had to ask. Is there anything else you want to say that I didn't ask?
I have, 4 months, 3.5 months left. And I intend to do what I've done and make the same decisions with regard to our commitment to serving this community that I have brought all the years I've been in office. And I'll continue to do that. And there is no setup. Matter of fact, we're going to roll money out of 1A that's unspent this year into next year. And I can assure my successor that this office will be in very good financial condition, and much better than when I took office. I mean, 1A was a decade of effort, and he's going to get to enjoy the benefits of it, and I hope he sees that and he enjoys it.
And if you could wrap up, describe your tenure in a phrase or a couple of words, how would you describe it?
I addressed all the needs that I identified, from staffing to equipment to training, the full circle of it.
Okay, and lastly, and I just had to ask, are you unhappy with your relationship with Bill Elder? Can you describe it? Can you describe that relationship for me?
Not really. I mean, I don't even hardly know him, so there is no real relationship. And I think it's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter. The electors will decide who takes my place.